It stings, as it should. You know, anytime losing stings, especially finishing your season like this. Um, but it just wasn't our year. Say it again.
Why do you feel like it wasn't your year? And obviously, you went through a lot physically this year as well. Did it just kind of feel that way for
I mean, yeah. I mean, it wasn't our year because we lost tonight. But yeah, battling through injury, we had some ups and downs, X, Y, and Z. But I'm proud of our guys that came out and fought. So still have a lot to hang our head about. Just tonight, just unfortunate. It sucks.
how bad was the injury?
Um, Nothing to talk about right now, but we'll see how the next steps, and you just kind of sit back and process and see what the next steps are.
Jaylen, you consistently use the offseason to come back a better player. Do you know what you want to work on this summer, or does that take time to refine and then go after?
Um, you take time, sit back and kind of figure it out. But I'm excited. Things didn't go your way this year. Things didn't go our way this year, and it's unfortunate. But we hold our head up regardless. Losing to the Knicks, feels like death. But I was always taught that there's life after death. So we'll get ready for whatever's next in the journey. I'll be ready for.
Jaylen, two major unexpected events for you to end the season. Obviously, the season ending in the second round and Jason's injury. How did those two things maybe reshape what you thought your summer was going to be like and how you come back next season?
Yeah, completely. Finishing in May feels weird. Definitely not something we were prepared for. Obviously, Jason, his injury, etc. I'm sure there's a lot to process, just as everything, this whole year. But we'll meet. We'll take a couple days. It's hard, like processing it all right now in real time. Y'all throwing all these questions at me, but I'm happy that our group, stayed together. It was an honor to share the locker room with a lot of these guys. It hurt to see, the emotions of all the guys, being a leader and, not being able to carry everybody to the promised land. It sucks, but it just wasn't our year.
Yeah, what was your view or kind of assessment of how Joe navigated you guys through the season?
I thought we had a great year. Joe prepared us as best he could. We had a great mindset. We had a great mentality. Um, we had some unfortunate events. We had some injuries and things like that. No excuses, but it just wasn't our year.
What was your perspective of everything that went into Kristaps playing and just kind of the journey he's been on since we have been over so far?
For sure. KP's been a large part of our success, our recent success last year, even going into this year. In the playoffs, he made it, wasn't feeling his best. But we appreciate him getting out there. And KP's is a tough guy. He has a great mentality, a great approach about himself and his game and his body. It's a tough process for everybody. But KP, from an injury perspective, he was available all year long. He helped us all year long, and it's just unfortunate that it ended this way.
Jaylen, you're used to not winning the championship. That's the norm, right? So last year you guys do it, you don't have to deal with this feeling. What does it feel like now coming up short compared to before you experienced what it's like to win the championship?
was
So what feels different about not winning now that you actually know what it's like to win the championship?
it feels the same. It almost feels worse. We were trying to do something special, go back to back. We had a great group. We played well all year, so I think this probably stings even more. We just had some unfortunate events, some injuries. Personally, I had some stuff that I was persevering through, and it just, it caught up to us in the end.
You mentioned how it's an honor to play with these guys. What made this group in particular just such a joy to play with?
Just a bunch of great guys. A bunch of, great selfless guys about winning, that, put their bodies on the line, that came into work every day, that, just added to the group. Yeah, no situations, no headaches, no turmoil or anything like that. And, that's most important, that our group we had a bunch of great days together. We didn't win in the end.
Last question, Gary.
Jaylen, is this being kind of knocked back to the bottom of the mountain can that be served as motivation? Is this kind of it's a bad day or down, but is it also a motivating day? Can you point back to this, you and the franchise, and point back to this and go, this could be a positive in a sense?
Absolutely. I don't make no excuses. Obviously, it's tough the way we went out like tonight, but the way we finished the year, personally, where I finished the year, persevering through some physical stuff that I was battling through. I'm proud of our group. I thought that, we fought. We was in a lot of battles, and it's a lot to be excited for. This journey is not the end. It's not the end for me. I'm looking forward to coming back stronger. So, you just take this with your chin up. I know Boston, it looks gloomy right now. Obviously with JT being out and us, kind of ending the year. But it's a lot to look forward It's a lot to look forward to, and I want the city to feel excited about that. Like this is not the end. So I'm looking forward to what's next.